The first road trip after the All-Star break continues from the West Coast, from Anaheim, California today. The Big A is the Astro fans making their way in. They have loved what they have seen so far in this series, and why not? 2 up, 2 in the right direction as the Astros today looking for win number 67 of the season as they take on the Los Angeles Angels. Astros now opening up a 6-game lead on the Seattle Mariners in the American League West. The A's playing good baseball right now. They are just 3 games back of Seattle for second place in the West. Alongside Jeff Blum, Kevin Eschenfelder with you. Good to have you with us for Astros baseball today. I'll be sitting in for Todd Callis for the rest of this road trip, giving him a little time off. But so far, so very good for this Astros team during this series.
Very good. I was giving A.J. Hinch a hard time. 66 wins is good, but all the analytics say that they should have won 72. I told him he's underachieving just a little bit.
Yeah, again, there's one thing that's not underachieving, and we're joking about A.J. Hinch as far as that's concerned, but that is the starting pitching. You brought in Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander a year ago. There's one thing to being good on paper. There's another thing to being great on the field in a sub-3 ERA, and that is of historic proportions when you look at the other teams that are in that category.
Yeah, it's really remarkable what these guys are able to go out there and do. They actually got better, like Esh was talking about, adding Garrett Cole to that rotation, but they've also pitched above the expectation a little bit too. 5 guys that they've used in that rotation, haven't had to use anybody else. That tells you a couple of things. They are healthy and they are consistent, but they are consistently amazing too.
In this series, it all started with Dallas Keuchel go 7 2/3, giving up 1 earned run. And, well, Justin Verlander says what you can do, I can do better, or at least really close, because he comes back the very next day and he puts together 6 very strong innings yesterday.
And I think you'd agree with me also, understand that 1 earned run by Dallas Keuchel could have been taken off the board.
Absolutely.
There was a couple of plays made behind him where he actually pitched better than that 1 earned run shows. But 5 strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel, 11 punch-outs for Justin Verlander. He loves pitching in this ballpark.
Lance McCullers has pitched very well against the Angels. He's never won in this ballpark. The 10 wins, an ERA around 2, about 6 runs worse, though, in his 4 losses.
Yeah, and he's won 10 of his last 14 starts. He's going out there with good stuff. This is a team in the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim that don't hit the breaking ball very good. They're 28th in Major League Baseball as far as that breaking ball. I bring that up because we know that this guy right here has a tendency to throw a ton of breaking balls, but I expect a couple of changeups to be mixed in there, too, to keep him off that curveball.
Andrew Heaney gets the ball today for the homestanding Halos. The Astros go for the sweep. Josh Reddick, a big part of yesterday's win. Julia Morales will talk more about that when we come back. Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By Arctic, overbuilt, not overpriced. And by Volkswagen. A sun-splashed afternoon here in Southern California. Astros and Angels as Houston goes for the sweep today here in Anaheim. Let's bring in Julia Morales. Julia?
Thanks so much. Yeah, it would be their 10th sweep of the season if they get that, and that was their goal coming into this back half of the season. These last 2 games they've gotten wins, and that's what they wanted to do, win as many games of the next 63 in order to win a division. They had the All-Star break. Coming off of that, where a large group of this team spent time traveling across the country, Houston to DC, where they had workouts and BP, and then of course to LA. There was some awards show there, and then to Anaheim to get it all started again. That could be dangerous for a team who has the tendency to fall flat, but not these Astros. They picked up where they left off. They had strong starting pitching right out of the gate. The offense showing up with some big swings. AJ said he loves the mentality of this group as they have come out with that energy, showing that they want to win every day. Kevin and Blummer, it's looked like the team that wants to take this division as soon as possible here down the stretch, guys.
Yeah, if anybody, Julia, thank you. It looks like they were the team that was flat coming out of the break, or looked like they were weary coming out of the break. It was the ones in the third base dugout, the Los Angeles Angels, because the Astros have just flat taken it to them in these first 2 games of this series out of the All-Star break. The Astros winning yesterday's game 7-0 after a 3-1 win on Friday night. Astros starting lineup is presented by Southwest Airlines and George Springer, who hit a grand slam yesterday and nearly left the yard on to lead off yesterday's game. He leads it off, followed by Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve. Yuli Gurriel, Evan Gattis, and Marwin Gonzalez, the middle third. J.D. Davis is in there at third base today. Tim Fedorovich is the catcher, and it'll be Tony Kemp batting 9th in center field.
Left-hander Andrew Heaney going for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 17 starts this season, 102 and a third innings pitched. He has 102 strikeouts in that time. The strikeout rate for him is actually down by a couple of hitters per 9 innings. He will come at you with that fastball that we just saw right there, 92 miles an hour. Also, changeup and slider. Pretty even split between the secondary pitches when he gets ahead in the count.
Heaney, a guy who faced the Astros earlier this season, actually faced Lance McCullers in that start and pitched very well against Houston. Count even at 1-1.
He does have very good numbers against the Houston Astros. Only 3 starts against the Astros.
Springer hitting .249, hit his 16th home run of the season yesterday, the grand slam in the 7-0 win. A ball and 2 strikes. It is a warm afternoon here in Anaheim. Supposed to get hot tomorrow, but so far so very good. 87 degrees at first pitch. The 1-2. That's in the dirt. Count even at 2-2. We talked about off the top the outstanding starting pitching the Astros have been able to put together in this series, and they have really been able to jump on the Angels pitching as well. Foul back. Been able to get into the bullpen and really feast on that Angels bullpen. Only 8 scoreless innings last time he faced the Astros back in May. Just got a piece. Well, yesterday, to lead off that game, he hit one all the way to the fence, and Justin Upton, well, he just was able to corral it right in front of the wall. Thought he had a chance for yet another leadoff home run. The 2-2. Foul back again.
Good job staying back on the changeup, and if George starts to get comfortable and starts leading this offense like we know he can and has, it's going to be a nice strong finish for the Houston Astros.
Well, when you say stay back, when he hit the grand slam yesterday against Alvarez, talk about staying back. That was the definition of staying back. One popped up on the right side. Luis Valbuena goes over. Has room and makes the play. High sky today here in Anaheim, and there's one away.
I wasn't overly confident in Valbuena right there. Ended up making the play, though.
So here's Alex Bregman. Alex playing shortstop today. Hitting .283, 20 home runs, 64 runs batted in, and riding a streak of reaching base 24 consecutive games. Strike one. Bregman has yet to get a hit here in this series. Bounces this one on the left side. Fletcher will throw over, and there's two away. Trout's in center, Upton in left, and Calhoun in right. Hamilton, Simmons, and Kinsler the middle infield. David Fletcher's at third. Valbuena, the first baseman today for the Angels. Angels come into play under 500 for the first time since Game 2 of the season. To 49-50 with that loss to the Astros yesterday. Jose Altuve takes strike one. The Astros now at 31 games over 500. 66-35. 6-game lead on the Mariners in the West. 1-1. Altuve hitting .329, still leading the league in hits. Just 1 for 6 in the series. Balls and no strikes. Heaney from the Oklahoma City area, pitched at Oklahoma State. Foul back. Came up as a Marlin. Spent the last 4 seasons here in Anaheim. Two balls and 2 strikes to Altuve. Just reaches out, touches this one up the middle. Andrelton Simmons will throw and got him by a half a step. That'll retire the side. Middle third, Luis Valbuena is at first base. He bats 7th. Jose Bersinho bats 8th, and David Fletcher will bat 9th for Mike Scioscia's team. That'll be the lineup that faces Lance McCullers, who makes his 20th start of the season.
There's Lance's numbers on the season: 19 starts, 10 wins, 112 and a third innings pitched. Last season he threw 118 and 2/3 innings the entire season, so kind of getting close to that number. In his career, he's topped out at 125 and 2/3 innings pitched. So that's a number that you keep looking at with Lance McCullers. I think it's great to see him out there starting out the season, racking up those starts, pitching deep in ball games. That is a very good sign of a young man learning how to pitch in the big leagues at an extensive amount of time.
It's his 11th career start against the Angels, and he has been great against Los Angeles. Sub-2 ERA, but a record of just 3-2. Cole Calhoun leading it off. It's been a tough season. Batting average of just 185. He spent some time on the disabled list, but well, he has struggled mightily all year long.
StatCast AI powered by AWS. Throwing some numbers out there and explaining why they have that shift played against Cole Calhoun in the last 100 baseballs he's put in play. A lot of them going up the middle of the right side. Darn it.
Almost. I know you were so hoping that ball would stay fair.
I about jumped out of my chair. You mean the numbers were right?
More times than not. Cole Calhoun, one of those players, though, with this Angels team, they have battled through injuries. Quite frankly, just some guys who have just struggled this season. There's a swing and a miss, and there's one away. One up, one punch out.
Our Best in Texas Power Pitcher is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Lance McCullers on the mound. Those career numbers that Esh was talking about in 10 starts, a 1.90 ERA. That is his lowest against any opponent that he has 2+ starts against. He's had a good time facing this Angels lineup, has not given up over 3 runs in any of those starts. Doing a very good job with that breaking ball, fastball mix. And this season we've seen that changeup become a very prominent pitch for him.
The interesting thing about how good those numbers are, he's never won in this ballpark.
Blame it on the offense.
I think you have to. Heavy on the curveball. Still can bring it, though. And the changeup, early in the season, that's something that was really an effective pitch for Lance McCullers.
And it almost had to be because he did not have the feel for that curveball early on.
Slowly hit to Bregman. He'll throw across, and there's 2 away. Alex getting the start today at short with Marwin in left field.
That was a good changeup, and I think he's going to try and wrinkle that pitch in there a little bit to try and keep these Angel hitters off balance, much like Dallas Keuchel and Justin Verlander have done. And also with those numbers in those 10 starts against the Angels, 10 starts, he's only given up 3 home runs and has 59 strikeouts, now 60.
And he has had a great deal of success, not only against the Angels, and it may go hand in hand, but he has also had a great deal of success against the man standing in right now, Mike Trout. It's in there for strike 1. Trout hitting .305 with 25 homers and 50 runs batted in. He is in about a 25-game slump right now. 1-1. Interestingly enough, with the success that Lance has had against Trout, it doesn't seem like it would match up. It seems like it would be a tough matchup for Lance. He's not a guy that lives up in the zone very much. That is generally the consensus of where you're going to at least have some relative success against Mike Trout.
Yeah, and Lance, you saw that last pitch in 96 up in the zone. I agree with you in the sense that that is not typically where you see Lance go, so he's making the adjustment to get to Mike Trout. It's that pitch right there, the curveball down, where Mike Trout does a ton of damage. Amazingly enough, a guy his size really does a very good job of covering the bottom portion of the zone, not just in getting hits, but also driving the ball out of the ballpark from down there.
It's not just been Lance. Trout 2 for 24 with 1 run batted in, and on that solo home run, that is what he has done this season against the Astros. Out into the seats. A ball and 2 strikes. Astros starters have lived ahead in the count in this series. Keuchel on Friday night took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Verlander yesterday punched out 11 in 6 innings of work. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one singles into left. The crowd erupts. They've not seen much at all as far as the offense is concerned during this series.
Oh, Mike Trout, arguably the best player in the big leagues. You might have two of the best players in all of baseball on the field with HOU AT ANA out there at second base also, but worked himself into a fastball count. Might have been a little bit of the changeup turning over, and he turns on it and rakes it into left field, but he did a good job earlier in the count, laying off some pitches up and fouling off some tough curveballs away. But you can see in that AB against Mike Trout, the book is stay away and up.
As the first hit in the series for Mike Trout, he had been 0 for 7. Here's Justin Upton, takes strike one. Upton hitting .232 with 19 home runs, 54 driven in. Playing left field today for the Angels. Federovich with a nice block. That streak that we had talked about with Mike Trout, where he had struggled so much those 25 games, 18 for 83. That's a .217 average. He's still not driven in a teammate since you got to go all the way back to June 19th. He's had a couple of solo home runs during that stretch. The 1-1 to Upton. Just missed high. Ed Hickok's working the plate today. Jerry Niels is at first base. He's the crew chief.
Let's see what that last pitch was on our MD Anderson strike zone. 97 up in the zone. A lot of it catching the plate.
There goes Trout. Fedorovic's throw down. Nowhere close. Easy bag for Mike Trout. He's in scoring position with his 16th stolen base of the season.
He's been kind of leaning the entire AB with Justin Upton up there. May have had a pitch in the dirt to advance on earlier, but gets a stolen base.
Upton will step out. The opportunities have been few and far between for the Angels in this series. They have one here in the first inning. Ball in the dirt. Count goes full at 3-2 as HOU AT ANA waits on deck. Fouled back. Tony Kemp gets a start in center field today. Be Springer in right, Marwin is in left. Bregman is at short, now Altuve. That's the middle infield. J.D. Davis plays third base, and Yuli is at first. Tim Fedorovich behind the plate, catching his battery mate, Lance McCullers. The 3-2. Strike three call. And Lance McCullers Jr. punches out two. We go to the second, scoreless.
League Baseball. The Houston Astros, we know, take pride in the fact that they do shift the most in Major League Baseball, 1,444 times, which comes out to almost 40% of the time that the Astros are going to be moving their defense around to accommodate where these guys have a high tendency of hitting the baseball. On the other hand, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim not embracing the analytics. Only 129 times have they shifted, playing straight up with that defense behind their pitching staffs.
Changing with the times.
Yeah, the two teams
yeah,
in all of baseball who don't shift as often are in the American League West. Texas Rangers, another team, but this gives you a good idea. Andrelton Simmons and Fletcher lined up, but with Yuli up there, maybe move somebody that middle part of the diamond to try and take away some hits.
Yuli at 305 hitters, 6 home runs, 53 driven in. He had his 13-game hitting streak snapped yesterday. Astros won that game 7-0. It's up and in a little bit. Well, Heaney has been a guy that's been real good against the Astros. Small sample size, just 3 career starts, but 1-0 with a sub-1 ERA, 0.95. Foul back. We're going to get one.
Today's the day?
You think so? No.
Just have your papers ready.
What is that? What is the paper going to do?
We have a stage manager that's usually here with us.
Quigs.
Yep. And we had a situation. Wow.
Unique.
I've heard of throwing the barrel at it, but that's not going to get it done.
In the most literal sense.
But we had a foul ball come up here, and the reaction of Quiggs was to grab the paper and put the paper up.
Wait.
So that's why we're seeing next to us, to our left, the Los Angeles Angels broadcast crew, Vic Rojas and Mark Gubiza. They every time a ball comes up here, our first instinct now is to put the paper up.
So block your view with something that can't stop the baseball, right?
It's kind of an ongoing internal joke that's now privy to everybody.
Yes. Well, hope I didn't pull the curtain back too far there.
No, it's early.
First strike out of the game for Andrew Heaney.
We still have a couple of Astros after dark games.
Yep. So Heaney's first punch out. Here's Evan Gattis hitting .236, 19 home runs, 63 driven in. Gattis had the day off yesterday. Tony Kemp was the designated hitter in yesterday's game.
Worked out pretty good.
Yes, it did. Tony had a big 2-base hit in that game. 2-0 from Andrew Heaney. Just off the plate, it's 3-0.
And more numbers on the shifting. My goodness. 18% of the time the ball is going to that right-hand side. Yet the Angels not going to defend that part, because that was the old school mentality, is stay up the middle. That was the big part of the field, and with the shifting it kind of takes away that big part of the field for the hitter.
Evan Gattis takes a walk. Heaney's first free pass of the day. A couple of old teammates visiting there at first base. And Marwin Gonzalez, a .233 hitter, steps in. Marwin with the start in left field today. His 36th start in left field for the Astros. Take strike one. 74-mile-an-hour curveball from the left-hander.
Marwin this season has seen a lot of off-speed early in counts. He likes to attack that fastball, but usually doesn't get him until later in the count. There's a changeup that backs up the first pitch breaking ball.
It's one of those ones where good thing he wasn't swinging a cupped bat. The ball may have stuck in the end of it.
Yep.
No balls and 2 strikes. Astros going for the sweep today and a chance to go to 32 games over 500. We're in a scoreless game in the top of the second inning. Just did get a piece. Gattis at first with a 1-out walk.
So what they're doing to Marwin, who is a very good fastball hitter, is trying to slow the hands down, try and slow the eyes down, the reaction down. And if they get a chance, maybe speed it, try and speed the baseball past him. But until Marwin proves he can hit that off speed early in the count, they're going to stick with it.
Has that been the biggest difference you've seen with opponents are working to Marwin this season? A lot fewer fastballs, and he gets one there, and he'll deposit it in left field. Gaddis turns second base. He heads for third. Here comes the throw in, and stop sign at third base. So a double for Marwin Gonzalez, his 14th double of the season, and the Astros have runners at second and third in the second inning with one out.
This is just a changeup that he stays through. That one coming back over the middle part of the plate, which helps out Marwin Gonzalez kind of pull it down that left field line. But they stayed with the off speed, and Marwin, fighting through it, gets himself a double and has a couple of runners in scoring position for J.D. Davis. But it's hard to tell yourself to sit back because you want to hit that fastball so bad.
Well, Davis called up to begin the post All-Star break portion of the season. Tyler White was sent down. Got in yesterday's game as a defensive replacement late. Played some third base. Went there today getting the start. He was out early taking ground balls. Davis flied out as one at bat in the ninth inning yesterday.
Probably one thing we haven't talked about all that much with the Houston Astros as a team, as an organization, how well prepared they are. It's a day game. There's nothing saying that J.D. Davis has to go out there. They didn't take batting practice today. They usually don't on day games. But J.D. Davis has the coaching staff and some of the resources to be able to go out there and take some ground balls before a day game and get comfortable knowing that he's starting today.
J.D. was on the opening day roster. This is his third stint in the big leagues this season. He's hitting .340 at Fresno. 22 doubles. Bats here with two runners in scoring position. Gaddis at third, Marwin at second. Swing and a miss, it's 1-2.
Heaney staying down in the zone, not elevating to J.D. Davis. With one out, runner at third base, the hitter's trying to drive something to the outfield to get that sac fly and get that run in.
A lot of off speed too.
Yep.
That'll even the count at 2-2.
And I really feel like unless you're Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander, the bigger the moment, and this is a big moment in this ball game, the slower the pitch.
It's interesting you say that. Yeah, that was the Maddox always talked about. The more trouble, the slower I get, not the higher the velo.
Yeah, the more anxious that hitter is.
Then again, Verlander can't. Not everybody can go grab 97.
Yeah, he's got an extra gear, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's second base. A good take there, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. As J.D. Davis, who had fallen behind in the count, now it's full.
It's a good AB, but did he earn that fastball? Is Heaney going to give in and give him something to hit?
He does, and J.D. Davis hits that one into left field. RBI single, and the Astros have the lead. Got the pitch to hit and didn't miss it.
And a changeup also. A lot of off speed, but a changeup in the zone, and J.D. Davis takes advantage of it. Good job by a young hitter. You can kind of see that uppercut swing, but when that uppercut swing gets a little bit quick, catch the top part of the ball and just kind of creates a little more topspin and shoots it through that hole, but well placed. Take a look at Heaney's changeup on our Supermo. That circle change grip coming out of those last 3 fingers, but staying up in the zone. That's what J.D. Davis had been hoping for and got.
Tim Fedorovich bats after Charles Nagy goes out and talks with his left-hander. Federovich 6 for 30 since coming to the Astros, coming to the big leagues. Saw a lot of him in spring training. Giving Max Stassi a day off today.
Which is surprising with the left-hander on the mound.
Good point. Runners at first and third. Strike one. AJ talked about just that, the fact that he's got to get guys into that lineup and may see some things that you wouldn't normally see. And this may be one of them when you take into consideration there's guys that didn't play a couple of days before the break, and you're looking about not facing live pitching or being on the mound for 10 or 11 days. 0-1 to Federovich. Fouled back. It's 0-2. RBI single by J.D. Davis. He's at first base. Marwin, after doubling, is at third.
There's always going to be a little bit of an adjustment period when you've been on a break for a little bit, 4 or 5 days, but that timing usually comes back pretty quick.
When you went on your All-Star break, would you even think about baseball?
No.
Would think about it?
I would
Wouldn't
pay
watch
attention
it? You would?
to the All-Star game and Home Run Derby just so you could talk a little trash after the All-Star break.
Swing and a miss, 2 away.
But as far as doing anything baseball-wise, no.
Didn't go out and run bleachers?
Oh, man. You kidding me? Sat in an ice bath for 4 days.
Heaney with his second strikeout brings up Tony Kemp. Kemp, a 300 hitter. An RBI double yesterday in the 4th inning off of Nick Tropiano. Bats here with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Astros with a run in, leading 1-0. They have not trailed in this series. Senyo had a notion of trying to keep Marwin close at third base. Tony with 3 home runs, driven in 18 runs. Solid numbers with runners in scoring position. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
Tony Kemp has really endeared himself to this coaching staff, this team, and the Astros fan base with how he goes about his business. Kyle Tucker getting called up doesn't faze him. He takes his medicine, has a seat, and then he ends up DHing, gets a big hit. He's always putting together great ABs. Not a guy that's going to go out there and complain. He's going to be grateful for every chance he has to get out there. But he's also found himself in some tough matchups. Left on left is not somewhere that I'm sure Tony Kemp is asking to be, but still continues to go out there and put together some good ABs.
Two balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. 3-1 as he misses outside. Speaking of left on left, yesterday what Josh Reddick was able to do right after Jose Alvarez had come in right up under his chin. 2 pitches later, Josh Reddick left the yard in a hurry.
Veteran. It's always nice after taking a seat on a pitch up and in that you're able to answer back with a big swing, and that's exactly what Josh did.
Yeah, he squared it up too. Got the outside corner. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
For those of you who are watching that national broadcast, this is that swing right there, and he knew it. He've earned a little bit of that bat flip. Putting it up over the scoreboard out there in right field. They've adjusted that wall, but that was plenty out of here.
Three balls, 2 strikes. J.D. Davis goes on the pitch. Ball hit into left field. Upton comes on and he'll make the play. But the Astros get a run on 2 hits. Lead it 1-0.
So use the hashtag UltimateSWFan LA on Twitter and show us you could win a jersey and a VIP experience. So tweet now and win big. It's a lot of fans. A lot of those fans, I think, are right here in Anaheim. Traveling great the second half of the season already.
Julia, that ball's outside to Shohei Ohtani. You were talking about that before the game. I mean, they travel well all the time, but would you agree this trip may be a little bit more than usual?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots to do in this area too, but this is a great group. Lots of orange here at the Big A.
Disneyland right down the road.
Got Disneyland just out there to the left.
Yeah, you go rock climbing out in left center field here.
Oh, the beach. Go catch you some waves. There's a nice swell that came in after one of those hurricanes just came off Mexico, man.
Listen to you. You got your wetsuit on as we speak?
No, that gets a little yeasty.
Pitch to Ohtani. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No, they are
I
well
hope that's on
represented.
tape, because if it's not, they're missing the game. That's inside. Ohtani had a couple of doubles in yesterday's game. And actually, the one that was surprising was the one on Tony Sipp, because he has really struggled against the left-handers. You're the DH today against the righty Lance McCullers. This is outside. Ohtani takes a walk. Bring up Ian Kinsler. You know, the numbers go up and down this lineup for the Angels. Kinsler, a 221 hitter. Valbuena, a 202 hitter. It's just been a tough time scoring runs for Mike Scioscia's team. Cole Calhoun, top of the order, a 185 hitter. Trout had a single in his first at bat, but he's been struggling here. Of course, Pujols is expected to be back soon. But you wonder how much help can he give this team. It's in there, strike one.
Cozart got hurt. Yeah, but the inconsistencies, and I know that you can't plan for guys having off years. Calhoun's one of those guys. Ian Kinsler's one of those guys that you really expected to be heavy contributors in this lineup, because I'm with you in the sense that it can't all be on Mike Trout, even though he continues to go out there and put up MVP numbers literally every single year he's out here.
Well, Kinsler scored the only run of this series for the Angels, and you could make the argument that he shouldn't have done that whenever a throw when he was trying to get to third base hit him. It was ruled as a fielder's choice and no error, so the run became an earned run charged to Dallas Keuchel. To be honest with you, I was a little surprised that was not ruled an E6, an error, throwing error on Marwin. Since the ball hit him, the ball clearly would have beaten Kinsler at third base. Instead, it was ruled a fielder's choice, and when he scored on a sacrifice fly, it was charged as an earned run to Dallas Keuchel. That was on Friday night.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That's, as I said, the only run in which the Angels have scored here in this series. The Astros have outscored the Angels now 11-1 in the series. Altuve playing just a shade to the second base side of the bag. Wonder about Bregman moving over to shortstop, and you think about it, what third baseman plays at the shortstop position more than Alex Bregman?
Seriously, with the left-handed shift on. And that's kind of a luxury too, if you think about it. We've seen a lot of times where the third baseman will move to that pull side and leave the shortstop in the shortstop position, but the Astros have a luxury of having Alex Bregman over there, not being able to do that.
Yeah, and Alex actually played second base in the 9th inning yesterday when Altuve came out. There goes Ohtani. That ball hit well to left. Going back is Marwin. It's over his head. This will tie the game at 1 as Ohtani comes in to score. Here comes the throw. He's in there. RBI double by Ian Kinsler, and we're tied at 1.
Kinsler coming through it in this situation to pick up the Angels that first run of this game, second in the series. curveball that backed up and stayed on the inner third. Lance likes to throw that down and away to right-handers to get that swing and miss, but that one backing up at 83 miles an hour, and Kinsler able to keep his hands back and adjust to it, get the barrel to it, and get it over Marwin's head.
Good time to have the runner going as well, as Ohtani wouldn't have scored without that. He was going with the pitch. Kinsler with the RBI, his 27th of the season. Luis Valbuena, 202 hitter, stands in his first at bat. Ball gets away. Federovich will chase it down in the third base on deck circle. Ruled a wild pitch. The ball was down in the dirt on a swing by Valbuena. Ball hit right at J.D. Davis and gets by him. Davis was in on the grass, and the Angels with their first lead of the series, 2-1.
Tough play in, a breaking ball that stayed up a little bit. J.D. Davis really didn't have a chance to get his feet in position, kind of moving to his right a little bit, and gets to the left of him. All he was trying to do is keep that in play. It ends up being a base hit and an RBI for Valbuena.
The 2-1 Angels. Jose Briseño. The catcher now will face Lance McCullers. Astros got a run in top half of the second. Angels answer with 2 more here in the bottom. Briseño's been able to put together good numbers. 316 hitter, playing in his 15th game in the big leagues. On the right side, throws it over. McCullers just threw it at a couple of orange jerseys. McCullers will get the tag put out. So
Lance McCullers with the interception.
The sacrifice complete as Valbuena moves into scoring position.
Altuve didn't get an electric break over there, but he was going to be there in plenty of time to receive that throw and get the out. But Lance McCullers moving that way, intercepts it, makes the tag. Altuve's reaction.
Ohtani walked to start the inning, followed by Ian Kinsler's double. Runners at second and third for the Halos, and they were able to score after Kinsler got to third on a wild pitch. Scored on an RBI single by Valbuena, who's at second after the sacrifice. Here's David Fletcher, the number 9 hitter. Fletcher playing third base. Valbuena leading away from second base. Strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike. We talked about the numbers right off the top. Was Lance McCullers in his 4 losses, the ERA over 8. In his 10 wins, the ERA just over 2. A swinging bunt right out in front. McCullers will throw him out. Valbuena moves over to third. There's 2 outs here in the second. Flips it over to the top of the order in Cole Calhoun. 208 with a 184 opponent batting average. Those numbers just flip in those 4 losses. Plus about 6.5 on the runs. Nearly 100 points as far as the opponent's batting average is concerned. Cole Calhoun struck out to lead the game off. Bats here with Valbuena at third base and 2 outs. there for a strike. Well, McCullers matched up against Heaney back on May 14th. Last time the Astros were here. Pitched well, but didn't get a win. Astros lost that game 2-1. Astros have won 4 straight in this ballpark. Ball's high and in. Move the feet a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Ninth meeting of the season between these two teams. The Astros 5-3. Breaking ball misses. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
It's not a very aggressive curveball from Lance. Expect this fastball to be rather aggressive, though.
The 3-1.
I think there was a curveball.
Sure did. Ball got into our level, albeit for a split second.
Drelton Simmons literally threw him, I think, everything on the on-deck circle. And Calhoun proceeded to fire everything back at him.
Bat weight, pine tar.
Manny Moto's stick finally got the spray that he wanted. Got to know your teammates better than that.
Three balls, 2 strikes. McCullers looking to make a pitch here. Misses high. Walked him, and there's runners at first and third. 2 runs in for the Angels. Close looking for more. Brent Strahm will make his way to the mound.
This might be a little bit of a father-son conversation. Tell him that he believes in his stuff and that he needs to too. Go out there and execute the pitches that Fedorovich is putting down. We have seen momentary lapses. Lance usually has the stuff to get back into counts and get back into ABs and win them. This is a portion of the lineup that you do not want to see too many guys on base. Calhoun, that was a big AB for him to be able to work that walk. Hitting 184 on the season, a career 254 type hitter. But for him to get on base and get it to Simmons and Trout with runners on base.
And just to keep the line moving for the Angels, especially the fact that it's been a bit of a labor here in this inning for Lance McCullers.
Much like Heaney, that pitch count jumping a little bit.
Simmons at 305. Grounded out in the first inning. Soft bouncer right at Bregman, who's playing short today. Misses outside, ball 1. Astros with a day off tomorrow. Then they have a 2-game set. Interleague styles. They'll take on the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field. One ball and 1 strike. Simmons by far his best offensive season of his career. You know what you're going to get from him defensively, even though he did make an error yesterday. An outstanding defensive shortstop. Hit to center field. Tony Kemp measures it. A couple of steps back, and that'll retire the side. But the Angels score 2 on 2 hits and lead 2-1.
for George Springer. Two-time All-Star was not supposed to play at all in the All-Star game. Some things changed during the game. He went in for defense. He even told AJ wasn't going to swing, but got a single and then that home run to help them win. AJ told him in the dugout, George, you are back after a long home run drought. But that was on the All-Star game. That was in the All-Star game. Didn't waste any time, though, when it got back to the regular season. A base hit in his first at bat of the second half, and then the grand slam officially ended the home run drought. First homer since June 20th. This offense much stronger when George Springer gets going, guys. About his struggles heading into the break, Josh Reddick is taking full responsibility due to a phone case he bought for George about a month and a half before the break. They had talked about it. He said, you know what, when did I buy you that phone case? And George said, about the time I started struggling. So Reddick told him to throw it away right before the break. Phone case gone. Here comes George. So it's all Reddick's fault. He has apologized. The guys are friends now. They're okay. George is feeling pretty good at the plate again, guys.
A phone case.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Must have been a Georgia Bulldog phone case.
Well, George popped up in foul territory to Valbuena to lead this game off today. Fouls this one back.
Just some thoughts on George Springer. It is good to get him back and doing things that he knows how to do, but just for George, just be patient. He has a tendency to get a little excited and try and go get that pitch before he gets in the zone, and just relax. The last two are actually go together. Relax and trust. Relax and trust the hands. He is a good enough athlete and obviously a good enough ball player that he doesn't have to go out there and panic and let that ball come to him and just continue to get the barrel to it. Good things happen.
A base hit for George. Astros trying to get something going here in the third inning, and right on cue.
Two thumbs up. A lot of that patience has to do with some of the pitches he's going to see. Gets some off speed that he gets a little quick on, but right here does a good job of getting that foot down, trusting those hands to get the barrel to it. But when he's hitting baseballs firmly up the middle, good things end up happening. And then every once in a while you see him elevate the off speed like we saw in that grand slam yesterday.
That was his third hit of the series, now 3 for 9 in this series. Alex Bregman still looking for his first hit in this series. Pop straight up. Arsenio has a play and he'll make it. One out for Altuve. Jose grounded to short in his first at bat. Springer at first base. Hit at Simmons. He's able to snag the line drive, and Springer gets back to first base. That ball was hit on a line. Altuve, much like yesterday, hit a line drive right at Simmons as well.
Got to recalibrate that GPS because that ball was smoked, just at the wrong guy. But continue to get barrels. There's nothing to adjust in the swing if you're Jose Altuve or anybody else that's going out there and making good hard outs. Just stay right where you're at and just chalk it up to bad luck. Because that ball jumped off the bat of Altuve, but Andrelton Simmons, usually if he can get within arm's reach of it, he's going to end up making the play.
Yuli struck out in his first at bat. Takes strike one. No balls and 2 strikes. A run on 3 hits for the Astros. 2 runs on 3 hits for the Angels. 1-2 Next road trip, the Astros will be back here in the Los Angeles area. This time, though, to take on the Dodgers.
That'll be a fun series. They've worked themselves back into the top of the National League West.
Sure have. Two balls and 2 strikes. And with Manny Machado there, the talk has changed a lot as far as the Dodgers are concerned.
Game ahead of the Rockies, who we're going to see on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Got Todd Callis with the road trip off. He'll be back with you when the Astros come back home to take on the Texas Rangers. And it's going to be a quick homestand, 3-game homestand. It'll be the last time the Astros see the Rangers this season. We get a heavy dose of the Seattle Mariners coming up over the last 60+ games of the season. They will take on the Mariners 13 times between now and the end of the year.
It's always more fun when you can play that in-state rival, but it's interesting how the schedule has worked out to where it is the Seattle Mariners and Astros in the West.
A swing and a miss. Heaney gets the strikeout. That'll retire the side. Angels lead 2-1.
Against these Angels, but in the last 2 starts against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in the vicinity of Orange County, he's got 15 innings under his belt, 10 hits allowed, 0 runs, and only 3 walks to the 18 strikeouts. He had 11 yesterday against these Angels. We also saw something interesting. He gets heavy on that fastball. I think we saw him throw 18 fastballs in a row yesterday. But it's also nice. We talked about the ability of Verlander to go out there and overwhelm hitters with the fastball, ranging from 95 to almost 100 miles an hour at times. But a very aggressive pitcher in the zone, and paid off the last 2 starts against the Angels.
In there for strike 1 to Mike Trout, leading off here in the 3rd inning. Yeah, you see the frustration. I mean, going back to back against Keuchel, and then you come back against Verlander the very next day. 2 contrasting styles for these guys to have to deal with.
Yeah, it is an interesting way to start out the second half for the Angels. You got to go with the finesse guy in Dallas Keuchel, working on the edges, but Dallas did a very good job of being aggressive early in counts and getting ahead and forcing hitters to give in to some of the pitches that Dallas was throwing, and then just getting overpowered by Justin.
Well, Trout with that single back in his first at bat, now just 3 for 20 in his career against Lance McCullers. The only pitcher that has limited Trout to a lower batting average than McCullers, Justin Verlander. Back-to-back days. Misses high. Trout takes the walk.
Pitch that caught a lot of the zone. I think Lance is wondering. Some good numbers in that starting rotation. It was a World Series winning rotation going into the offseason. Then they added Garrett Cole. He's got a 2.52. Keuchel worked that ERA down to 3.6. Lance McCullers trying to do the same here this afternoon, but these guys are unbelievable. And how about the note on the bottom?
1945 Boston Braves.
Man, you start reaching back in history books to try and figure out who these guys compare with.
Numbers like that, numbers like the run differential, when they put it into perspective and you start pulling up teams like the 37 Yankees and a little perspective for you.
Color research staff to task there, digging way back.
Upton called out on strikes in his first at bat in the first inning.
Trying to keep Mike Trout honest. Stole that first time he was on.
And those are moves with a purpose. No balls and 2 strikes.
You pick off that many times in a row, that third and fourth time, you start to mess with the hitter a little bit too. Hitter gets impatient.
Like you said, Trout got that bag back in the first inning. Ohtani was going on the double down the left field line, and he was able to score the first run of the game for the Angels. Ball and 2 strikes. Hit deep to center field, and this one is gone. 2-run home run. Justin Upton, his 20th of the season, and the Angels now lead it 4-1.
Lance is a guy you could try and sit breaking ball on, but unless he makes a mistake with it, it's going to be a long afternoon. But he made a mistake on this one. Caught the middle third of that strike zone and out over the plate and down. And Justin Upton put an absolute charge into this one. There's the release on our Supermo, showing you the breaking ball, but not that crispness down in the zone. Upton unleashed on that one. Wow. 106.7 miles an hour off the bat, estimated 443.
Backs Ohtani off. Ohtani walked and scored in the first to make it in the second inning. His first at bat. Hit to center. Kemp with a couple of steps in. There's 1 out in the third.
Earlier in that count against Justin Upton, Lance did a very good job with the elevated fastballs that we've seen. Blew a couple of them by him with the swing and miss to go 0-2. Sometimes that predictability in that curveball, you know you're going to get it. You just hope that you get the mistake. He threw the mistake right there.
Ian Kinsler had a big 2-base hit. He's back in the second inning.
On really would have been the 2 worst curveballs that we've seen today from Lance.
A ball and a strike. 2-1 to Kinsler. Good breaking ball. Strike two. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Angels with 2 runs in the second and 2 more here in the third. A 2-run home run by Justin Upton. Count goes full. This is where if you're A.J. Hinch and company, you're thinking, keep us right here. You've got an offense that is as potent as anybody's, more potent than anybody's on the road. Keep it right here at a 4-1 game. Let the bats go to work.
Yeah, you've got a couple of things going for you. Like you said, they're on the road where they swing the bats extremely well, but they're also the best hitting team against left-handed pitching. As a team, they've got a .275 batting average, which is best in baseball, and they've also ripped 38 home runs.
Kinsler takes inside, ball 4. The tickets are available for the final Lone Star Series of the season presented by the Texas Lottery. Cheer on the Astros next weekend as they take on their in-state rivals, the Texas Rangers. For tickets, visit astros.com/tickets. 2019 before you get to see the Texas Rangers and Astros again if you don't get out there then next weekend.
Yeah, if you've got any good material left, make sure you get out to the Minute Maid Park and let those guys hear it.
Luis Valbuena, RBI single in the second. Scored Ian Kinsler and gave the Angels their first lead of the series at 2-1. Got up under the hands of Luis Valbuena. Didn't stand a chance. That was one of those swings that looked like he had made up his mind he was going to swing before the ball ever left McCullers' hand.
We call that the Little League approach. Next pitch I see, I'm swinging at it no matter where it is. And then you do it and you're like, oh.
Why'd I do that? Hit to left. And Marwin with a running catch.
What is going on?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's a veteran making a big mistake.
Ian Kinsler had no idea. He didn't realize how many outs there were.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That'll retire the side. So a double play gets it done.
T-Sportsnet, SW on Twitter. There you vote. Which Astros slugger will be this year's team home run champ? Is it Alex Bregman, who has 20 already? Evan Gattis, he's got 19. Or George Springer, who we saw go grand salami yesterday. Vote. We'll let you know who wins later in the broadcast. Kevin?
Julia, Evan Gattis leads off in the fourth. Astros down now 4-1. Run on 3 hits. The Astros have left 3. 4 runs on 4 hits. 3 left on for the Angels. Back-to-back 2-run innings for Los Angeles. 2 in the second, 2 in the third. Evan Gattis walked and scored the Astros run in the second inning.
It was an interesting way to end the third.
Yes, it was.
And I think, Ian Kinsler may have been thrown off.
Ball ripped foul.
Maybe Ian Kinsler was thrown off by the fact that, watch the bat flip. Because the bat flip, Ian Kinsler, if he's reacting to the baseball, he knows it's an out. But if he's reacting to Valbuena's bat flip, he might have thought that ball was about 15 rows into the bullpen.
Ian Kinsler, I don't think, he just flat didn't know how many outs there were.
Yep. But the bat flip is what was most impressive about that whole situation.
On a humpback liner to the left fielder.
Right here off the bat, what do you think happened? Oh, that ball's out of here.
Marwin.
That was a 300-foot fly out.
Marwin makes the catch, tosses it in, and Ian Kinsler easily doubled up. To save Lance McCullers some pitches. This one popped up on the right side. Valbuena is there. Makes the catch. You like that bat flip, didn't you?
Oh, you know what? Luis Valbuena is a great guy, to his credit, but he literally bat flips everything. But that was extra special. Actually, I think I've got exit velocity. Here we go. The exit velocity on that bat flip, the ball was at 77 miles an hour, and it went all of 241 feet.
You were generous with the 300-foot
overestimated.
300-foot line drive. Marwin, right center. It's 2 away. So J.D. Davis had an RBI single. His first at bat. Counting for the Astros run today. They trail 4-1. Astros 3-1 winners on Friday. Came back with a 7-0 win yesterday. Davis takes strike 1. Davis with his first start since being recalled for the 3rd time, facing a tough left-hander. Heaney working ahead 0-2. Take a couple of steps towards that third base dugout.
Not a terrible pitch. We've actually seen some pitches in the top third of the zone not being called. Veteran umpire Ed Hickok's back there.
Davis putting together big numbers in Fresno and PCL. Trying to translate that here to the big league level. Astros scored their run in the 2nd inning. Evan Gattis with a walk. He would go to 3rd on a Marwin double, and then J.D. Davis with an RBI single. That has been the offense today for the Astros. Hit on the ground. Fletcher. That'll retire the side. 4-1 in the middle of the 4th.
in town. This week's Friday Night Fireworks, presented by Occidental Petroleum, will be synced to music voted for by the fans. Visit astros.com/Friday nights for tickets.
Yesterday was an early start with the national televised game, and they have the fireworks here in Anaheim after the Saturday games. So they unleashed the fireworks kind of before it got dark after yesterday's game.
It's interesting. Did you stick around for it?
No. That was just the word on the street. Swing and a miss. Jose Briceño, sacrifice in the second inning. His first plate appearance. Angels on top 4-1. Ninth meeting of the season between the Astros and Angels. The Astros leading the series 5-3. Houston has really had Anaheim's number, Los Angeles' number, over the last couple of seasons. Lance looking in. He trying to get to the top of that zone.
He's gotten to it.
Well,
there's that third pitch.
That's why he was looking in at Ed Hickox. A swing and a miss. First out of the inning.
Making him earn those strikeouts. You do want an umpire who's going to be consistent, and regarding the strike zone that Ed Hickox has, he has been consistent. He hasn't called anything in that top portion of the zone, but when the entire baseball is in the zone, you kind of expect it to be called a strike.
And Lance has been consistently hitting that part of the zone when he's attacking these hitters.
Well, it's an effective pitch for him if he can get to that top part of the zone, because it sets up that breaking ball down.
Soft single into center field for David Fletcher. A one-out base runner for the top of the order. Didn't hit it hard, but got enough of it. Old Calhoun 0 for 1 with a walk. Fifth hit of the day for the Angels. Quickly ahead 0-1. Anything but easy today for A.J. Hinch's pitcher Lance McCullers. Flipping it over to that third time through. Struck out to lead the game off, then he walked in the second inning. He'll take anything he can get right now, as much as he has struggled into this game at 185. 2 balls and a strike.
Drastically changed that stance for Cole Calhoun. He used to be a little more upright. Now he's really on the legs. The hands are away from the body.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Bregman, the shortstop, the second base side of the bag there at second base, the right side of the infield. 3 on the right side. fouled off. Fletcher going on the pitch.
Good pitch to run on, breaking ball.
Persino struck out to start the inning. And David Fletcher with a one-out single is at first base. Top of the order, Cole Calhoun with a 2-2 count. Whipped into right field. Fletcher to third. Calhoun will watch the throw. And the Angels with runners at the corners and one out.
Down and in with everything, and then that curveball again, backing up on Lance in a 2-strike count. Middle. Calhoun gets the barrel to it. Even though he's struggling well under 200 as far as batting average this season, that's a pitch he could handle and rip into right.
Brent Strom will make his way out.
And a lot of this visit right here for Brent Strom is to get that bullpen going. Looks like Brad Peacock might be the guy getting loose out there in that Astros bullpen, but trying to speed up the process a little bit as Lance looks over his shoulder into that bullpen to see Brad getting loose. But he's in a bit of a situation right here, right now.
Astros upcoming schedule presented by AT&T Entertainment Group. 44 of the Astros' last 61 will be against teams with winning records. Rockies for a 2-game series on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then is back home, 3-game set against the Rangers, and then out on the road where you're going to see a whole lot of the Seattle Mariners. 3-game series at Safeco.
Yeah, that Rockies series, you're going to see Garrett Cole in that first game going up against left-handed pitcher Tyler Anderson, and then Charlie Morton against right-handed pitcher John Gray for the Rockies.
You like playing in Denver?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yeah, you don't want to be sick, injured, or not on a big league roster when your team goes through Colorado. You want to play in those games.
Runners at the corners for Simmons. One hopper, J.D. Davis. He'll throw across. They get the runner there. Now they throw to third.
Great play.
And a double play, but the run will score. So the Angels get that run. The Astros get the double play, but it's 5-1 Los Angeles.
What happened yesterday? The Josh Reddick Field grand opening was yesterday. It's a field for baseball, softball, hosting recreation players, 12 and under, wheelchair accessible, which was very important to Reddick. It's in Effingham County where he grew up, and he said seeing video of this happening yesterday, pictures, it brought him to tears. What really brought him to tears, though, he said, was a picture of the team that he has sponsored, helped sponsor for years. It's the Effingham County Navigators, and it's made up of children with disabilities and all their siblings, and they played the very first game, and the entire team wore his number 22. But it's a dream that started for him his junior year of high school. He told his dad, when he makes it, I'm going to donate enough money to build a stadium, put it where my roots are, going back to also where his dad was hurt in an accident, and so seeing what his family had to go through with his injury. That's where the disabilities and the accessibility for all of these people to get into the stadium was very important to him. A huge thanks to Infield Chatter for that. Bob Holzman did a really nice story, and you can find that by downloading the app. It's incredible stuff. Josh Reddick always willing to give back, but very good to hear him tell that story. And very cool. I mean, for any of these guys, a lot of Astros get out in the community, but that was very special to him, and it was a year in the works, so it finally was unveiled. He'll get to see it hopefully later this season, guys.
That was awesome. I mean, that really was.
No, really, as soon as it popped up on my Twitter feed, you had to dig into it just to get an even better understanding of what a great guy we already know Josh Reddick is.
$1 million donation to make sure that field was built back in his hometown.
And that Infield Chatter that Julia is talking about, where we found that story, that is by the players for the fans, and it's an official app of the Players Association. So that is directly linked to the players here in Major League Baseball. But what a great story, and a lot of credit to Josh Reddick for that.
Angels lead at 5-1. Tim Fedorovich. It's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. And I'm glad to see that you were out of the sun. Not to tell too much, but where are you, Julia? Out of the sun? She's out of the sun.
Out of the sun.
That is a good thing.
Can only do so long in the sun.
4th strikeout of the game for Andrew Heaney. There's one out here in the 5th. That was an interesting ending to that 4th inning for the Angels, and I'm not sure Cole Calhoun had to do it over again. I'm sure that he wouldn't have rounded and made that 3rd out at 3rd base.
That's twice. That's back-to-back innings of a couple of the more interesting double plays you're going to see.
The other one, Ian Kinsler running from first base on a fly ball to left field. Didn't realize there were 2 outs. Tony Kemp down to 298, just under 300. He has been everything the Astros could have expected, and some. Good at working counts like he's doing right here at 2-0. On the ground to Valbuena. Heaney comes over. 2 outs. Heaney has been in control today, really limiting this Astros offense. He's a guy that, as the numbers will tell you as we turn it over to the 3rd time, gets better as the game goes on. Gave up 1 run on 8 innings of work his last time he faced the Astros on May 14th. Swing and a miss from George Springer. Springer led off the 3rd with a single. Down in the count 0-2. Yesterday's home run for George snapped the longest home run drought of his career. That was 22 games. It was his first home run since June 20th against Tampa. Also the 5th grand slam of his career. Foul back. His 5 grand slams, how fitting is this? All have come on the road.
Of course they have. This is great. This is that pitch last night. The foot gets down, but the hands, there's just a little bit of hesitation, but that means that the hands are staying back in a good locked and loaded position. By the time the eyes recognize and you acknowledge what the pitch is, then you send the message to the hands to fire. And that's exactly what George did.
The 5 road grand slams, that is a franchise record. He passed Jeff Bagwell with that grand slam yesterday. They opened that game up as the Astros won 7-0. This is rocketed down the left field line. In for extra bases, and George Springer with back-to-back hits stands at second base with a double.
Turn and burn.
A different look than what we saw before the All-Star break.
Try to get in on him. George said, nope, kitchen's closed. Gosh, when this guy gets going, it is impressive.
This would be a good time for Bregman's first hit of the series.
Wow. That was a pretty good pitch.
Tight zone to say the least for Ed Hickox. That was a strike. Talk about the entire baseball in the square.
It's got to be that center square.
Should be easy for Upton. I'll retire the side. Midway through, 5-1 Angels. Going on now by McDonald's, I'm loving it, and by Nissan, innovation that excites. Angels on top 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. We'll bring up Mike Trout. This is, if you're Mike Scioscia, you would think the double play that ended that fourth inning makes it even more perplexing, is the fact that you've got Mike Trout took a at-bat away with a runner in scoring position away from him.
No, that was the biggest thing for me, is that Calhoun, already in scoring position at second base, got a little bit greedy. When you've got Mike Trout coming to the plate, and behind Mike Trout is a guy named Justin Upton who just went deep to center field.
Making that first or third out at third base. Those cardinal sins. That's what the Angels did. So Mike Trout bats to lead off in the fifth. Trout 1 for 1, single, walked and scored. And a labor today for Lance McCullers Jr. It's the 86th pitch of the day. And a good one.
Get a guy like this to chase, but just to kind of reinforce the fact that that double play, this is the worst season as far as a slash line for Mike Trout. Are you kidding me?
2014.
939 OPS.
Ball. A rocket, spin and throws, and there's one away.
Nice play by Alex.
Yes, it was.
Not easy on the short hop. Luckily on the glove side. Got to be on your toes. J.D. Davis is already playing way closer than I would have. But at shortstop, even that is a tough play.
Well, you get the feeling the way he's been able to swing the bat today. Solid single, a walk, and then that ball really squared up that somebody's getting ready to pay, because Mike Trout had been hitting .217 in the 25 games coming into this one.
Yeah, he can put it on somebody else. Right now, the Astros have done a relatively good job against him.
Justin Upton hit a big fly. 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. Gave the Angels a 4-1 lead. Which is 20th home run of the year. Two balls and 1 strike. What have you seen today? The difference with Lance McCullers in that the games in which he has been so successful as opposed to today trailing 5-1.
Command. It's usually the easiest thing for me is just command. If he's ahead early with the fastball or the breaking ball, he usually gets that breaking ball over early. But it's all about taking command of the AB. We saw Dallas Keuchel do it in the first game of this series. But Lance is a guy who needs to control ABs and get to those other pitches, but we've seen him be erratic with some of these pitches. Now with that walk, that's what I'm talking about. That is now 5 walks on the afternoon for Lance McCullers.
We got you a great ballpark bargain with the Coca-Cola Ballpark Bundle. The bundle includes a ticket, hot dog, soda, and popcorn for only $20 during select weekday games. Visit astros.com/ballpark-bundle for ticket and information. And that'll be the end of the day for Lance McCullers Jr. As he goes 4 innings in this one. He will take a seat. We'll get you the reliever when we come back. You by Nissan. I know you're going to get this one with the first clue. Cal State Fullerton, 3rd round pick. August 5th.
Got it.
How many clues did I can name that Astro and how many clues?
1.
Told you. Cianel Perez makes his 3rd big league appearance as he comes in relief of Lance McCullers Jr. Went 4 1/3 innings and gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits. Walked 5 in this game.
How about the situation that Cianel Perez is in this game right now? He's not coming in to face the bottom part of the order. He's coming in to face Shohei Ohtani left on left.
Who is 7 for 37 against left-handers. Here's the ground ball and not going to be able to turn it. That's where it's one time that the shift cost the Astros a double play as Bregman was there to make it, but he had to wait to tag on Upton. So Ohtani able to beat the rap at first base, and he'll reach on the fielder's choice.
Well, Ohtani can run. He is a large human over there also, but he can roll a little bit. But a good job by Alex Bregman making sure that he gets that first out in order to try and have an attempt at that. It was either that or make the choice to run to second base and make that tag.
And now, what's Mike Scioscia going to come out and talk about?
He's wondering if he didn't tag the league runner or if he was making the call if he was out of the baseline. This is a pretty good camera angle, as close to that baseline as we can get. But you can see Justin Upton trying to get out of the way of that tag. I don't see a tag, but out of the baseline is pretty clear.
You know, Ohtani, a rare hit off a left-hander yesterday against Tony Sip. Now he's at first base, reaching on the fielder's choice. Perez facing Ian Kinsler. Kinsler's had a good game. Double, walked. Had a good game until he forgot how many outs there were in the third inning.
For a seasoned veteran, that's tough to overlook. But it happens to the best of them.
Bet it never happened to you.
But maybe once. All it takes is one time.
Now Perez's third big league appearance of the season. Misses. Pitched against Oakland back on the 11th and against Detroit on the 14th. Inning and 2/3, gave up an earned run in that first appearance and went a scoreless inning against Detroit. Three balls and one strike. Angels with 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 more in the fourth. Batting here in the fifth, leading 5-1 with 2 outs. Count goes full.
Pretty good pitch and a 3-1 count. Probably got Ian Kinsler up there looking for the heater. And CNL Perez gave him 95 on the outside corner.
Seems fitting in Southern California. Beach ball would be loose, especially on a warm day like today.
Yeah, that's pretty much standard operating procedure here for the fans.
Three-two pitch. Ohtani is off. Wow, that is where the Nets come into play. Ball was rifled over the top of the dugout there on the third base side. That ball would have gotten into the seats.
You realize how early you have to swing to be able to barrel up a baseball and shoot it over the dugout where this dugout is set up here at Anaheim? My goodness. Red alert in there.
Just thrown him 95 on the outside corner. Probably got Kinsler's attention. Stays alive. Kinsler facing the 3-2 pitch here. Foul back. Yeah, I ducked. What?
Why the panic?
I didn't panic. I just moved.
Just put the paper up. Put the paper up. See, Gooby's showing you right there. Gooby had it. Paper up.
Jeff Luhnow.
That's what you do. So this is panic. You don't go that way. You go like this.
No, I went away from the baseball. Jeff Luhnow's in the booth next to us, and he laughed at me. He gave me There's a half swing, and it's enough for Kinsler, and that'll retire this side. We go to the 6th. Angels on top.
An update on Carlos Correa, who has not played since June 25th. He has back soreness. It's lasted much longer than the Astros have hoped. Very slow progress for him, even a step back around the All-Star break. He had progressed to swinging before the break. He got close to a rehab assignment, but has taken a few steps back. He is not swinging right now, only playing catch and running. He is pain-free, but this has definitely gone long enough to where it'll take him some time to get ramped up with the baseball activities, and he's probably going to need a longer rehab assignment, more than a game or two. Not on this trip. We will see him when the team returns to Houston this weekend. Kevin?
Yeah, the key word, no timetable. Altuve shortens up. Andrew Heaney's been really good. He's given up a couple of doubles, a couple of singles. The Astros just one run in this game. 5-1, Angels on top as Altuve leads off in the 6th inning. Two balls and no strikes. Two-hopper, tough play, and well done by David Fletcher.
Seen Fletcher play some pretty decent third base. Good reaction to get that short hop and throw across to get Altuve, who runs pretty well.
And not to mention that knowing that you got to dial that clock up a little bit, right? Knowing who's going down the line.
Yeah, the speed clock is definitely ramped up when you've got a guy like Altuve running.
Gurriel just fouled. Well, Yuli struck out a couple of times in this game. About a foot and a half away from another two-base hit. 13-game hitting streak came to an end yesterday. Andrew Heaney's enjoyed a lot of success against the Astros and is continuing it today. Top of the 6th inning, 5-1, Angels on top. Astros have already taken the first 2 of this 3-game series. Popped up on the infield. Valbuena and now Ian Kinsler. Everybody's got their glove up looking at it. Kinsler makes the play. This week on Astros Bases Loaded, we'll recap an exciting All-Stros game. Preston Wilson plays the left field gap at Minute Maid Park. And the writer who predicted the Astros World Championship for Sports Illustrated makes his pick for 2018. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded after the game on AT&T Sportsnet. Evan Gattis bats with 2 outs and nobody on in the 6th inning. Evan 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Pulled a string and Gattis out front. Tough day for Lance McCullers. 5 earned runs and 4 2/3.
Yeah, that's back-to-back games where we've seen that walk to strikeout ratio be lopsided towards the walks. That last outing was a couple of weeks ago against Oakland. He walked 5, struck out 1.
ERA for the season goes over 4 with today's tough start. 4.01. Two balls and 2 strikes. Sought off that inside corner.
Wasn't exactly framed up.
Cam Bedrosian begins to warm up for the Angels. Astros have beaten up on this Angels bullpen in this series. Three and 2.
Seen a lot of fastballs inside, that curveball down and in. Both those pitches on the inside third of the plate to right-handed hitters set up that changeup pretty good too.
Gaddy looking to get something to hit here. The 3-2 pitch. Walked him for the second time today.
Well, last time Evan walked, he ended up scoring. Only run of the day for the Astros.
Well, Marwin had his 14th double of the year. That was in the second inning. He's 1 for 2. A ball and no strikes. th pitch of the day for Andrew Heaney coming up here. It's 1-1.
Good swing. Marwin trying to do some damage. Drive Evan in from first.
Calls time and gets it. Heaney's thrown more than 100 pitches in his last 3 starts. Make it 4 starts now. 101, 103, 106. The 3 starts before this one.
It's the first time we've really seen that zone expand.
Most he's thrown this season was 116 back on June 5th. Gaddis leads away from first base in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. "36th start of the season in left field today for Marwin. Made 24 starts at short, 20 at first, 4 at second, and 2 at third base. Those are starts. Works the count full. Cam Bedrosian warming for the Angels. Feeling this will be more than likely his last batter. Gaddis goes on the 3-2. Marwin pulls that one into left field. Upton comes on. He'll squeeze it, and that retires the side. Middle of the 6th inning. Angels lead 5-1. final 2 outs in the 5th inning. 22-year-old Cuban-born pitcher. Faced Luis Valbuena to lead off in the 6th inning.
A.J. Hinch showing some confidence in CNL Perez. Did a good job working out of the situation. Came in with a runner on first base. Got that fielder's choice and a strikeout to get out of the inning. But I'm sure with Luis Valbuena leading off here in the bottom portion of this order, maybe CNL Perez getting a chance to work through it and extend this outing for himself and also give a little bit of the break to that bullpen.
One and one. Now Perez signed by the Astros in December of 2016. He pitched at three levels in the Astros minor league system last year. He was exclusively in Double-A this season. "22 years old. Youngest Cuban-born pitcher to make his major league debut since Jose Fernandez. Did that against Oakland a week and a half ago. Good pitch. 1 out in the 6th.
More of a true breaking ball. 80 miles an hour breaking down. Valbuena with no answer for it. The young man showing some good poise out on the mound.
His second strikeout. Now Jose Briceño. Sacrifice bunt in the 2nd. Struck out in the 4th inning. He's 0 for 2. Briceño's a guy who's played a ton since coming up with the Angels, but he's flat hit. Over 300 coming into this game. Albeit a small sample size. Swings through that one. It's 2-1. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Nicely done backing up the 94-mile-an-hour fastball with that curveball.
Two. Another strikeout for CNL Perez, and there's 2 away.
Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park on Saturday, July 28th as they take on the Rangers. 10,000 fans in attendance will receive a Lone Star Series t-shirt presented by Germania Insurance. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/promotions.
Well, no matter what happens here, it's been an impressive short outing here by CNL Perez. He's now struck out 3 straight Angels. Count even at 1-1 to David Fletcher. Fletcher singled and scored the 5th run of the game in the 4th inning on what turned out to be a double play tag play that ended the 4th. And Cole Calhoun tried to get to 3rd base with 2 outs and was easily thrown out. A solid single to left.
This is CNL Perez's last hitter. An opportunity to get the left-handed hitting Calhoun.
Simmons, Trout, and Upton will follow him, but 2 outs here. Calhoun singled in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. It's been a tough year for Calhoun, particularly though against lefties. Trying to keep him close at first. Against left-handers this year, Cole Calhoun, his batting average is 125. He is 7 for 56 against left-handers.
It's not good. I'd like to see it stay that way.
Didn't play on Friday against Dallas Keuchel. Batting leadoff today. 2-out single by Fletcher. He's at first.
He's going to have to fight back in this count.
Three balls and no strikes.
Fedorovich going out to have a conversation, try and calm down CNL Perez. Throwing a lot of strikes in the first inning and a third that he's been out there, trying to fight through this inning in 2/3. A.J. Hinch giving him the opportunity.
The 3-0. Walked him on 4 pitches. Here comes A.J. Hinch. CNL Perez, solid outing of 3 straight strikeouts. They followed that up by giving up a single to the 9-hole hitter David Fletcher, and now a 4-pitch walk to Cole Calhoun. We'll be back with more. 5-1, Angels on top. VA Compass are available for kids 12 and under. Buddies receive 4 tickets to an Astros regular season game, a backpack, cap, socks, and exclusive benefits throughout the year for only $25 plus tax. Visit astros.com/buddies today to sign up. Brad Peacock comes on for the Astros, third pitcher of the day as he comes in relief off CNL Perez. Going to shut this thing down right here. Give his bats a chance to get back in this game.
Good first half numbers for Brad Peacock. That whip right around 1, 58 strikeouts and 42 and a third. Fought through some issues early in the season trying to find the command of that slider. It started to pick back up closer he got to the All-Star break. He will throw that pitch 53% of the time to right-handed hitters. My goodness. How do you hit a ball that far, that foul? That's impressive.
I don't think the fans up there
expect up somebody
to get a foul ball today. Peacock worked the 8th inning yesterday for the Astros. Couple of walks, but he got a double play ball in there. Scoreless 8th inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. That ball went into the upper tank.
Like by a decent amount.
One ball and 2 strikes. CNL Perez with those 3 strikeouts, but then the single to David Fletcher and then the walk to Cole Calhoun. Now Peacock to face the right-handed side of the order. Andrelton Simmons here. Two balls and 2 strikes. Peacock, one of those guys that, well, he got to work yesterday, but one of those guys that A.J. Hinch was talking about, wanted to get a lot of guys in early on after the All-Star break. Right-handers hitting just 179 against Brad Peacock. Runners go. That one hit into center field. Tough play for Bregman, and he can't make it. 1 run scores, and it's 6-1 Angels. Well, 2 outs and nobody on. A bloop into center field after a single and a walk, and the Angels extend their lead.
Tied up Simmons, but hit just enough of it to get it over the head of Alex Bregman. Disappointing when you work through that AB and get to 2 strikes, but as a hitter, that's sometimes a bonus of making contact in 2 strikes is you're able to loft one out there and pick up an RBI, 2-out RBI for the Angels.
And the disappointing thing for Astros is the fact that it was 2 outs and nobody on when this started. Mike Trout, 1 for 1 with a walk and a run scored.
That run will be charged to CNL Perez, and he is still responsible for Calhoun down there at third base.
A ball and a strike. Trout with a single in the first, walked and scored in the third. He grounded out but hit the ball hard in his third at bat. Strike 2. Trout just 2 for 24 against Astros pitching coming into this game in 2018. Swing and a miss as Brad Peacock gets Mike Trout to end the 6th. The Angels add a run and lead 6-1. third round pick August 5th, and it is one J.D. Davis. Third round pick in 2014. Made his major league debut on August 5th of 2017. And starting today here at third base for the Astros. Cam Bedrosian comes on for the Angels, appearing for the second time in this series.
We have seen Cam, and Cam will come at you with the fastball around 94 miles an hour. He also has a curveball, two-pitch pitcher out there looking to take on the Houston Astros. Bottom portion of this order, J.D. Davis will be leading off.
A good outing today for Andrew Heaney, as Bedrosian pitched on Friday night against Houston. Bedrosian went an inning, punched out a couple, a scoreless inning. Like you said, he'll work to the bottom third. J.D. Davis, Fedorovich, and Tony Kemp. Astros down 6-1 after taking the first two of this three-game series. Best team going, scoring after the seventh inning. If they're going to win this one today, they're going to have to do just that. J.D. Davis accounting for that one run for the Astros today on an RBI single. One ball and a strike. Bedrosian now 26 years old, former first-round pick of the Angels. Popped up on the right side. Now Buena over. One away. Fedorovich is 0 for 2. The Astros had won 4 in a row here in this ballpark, trailing 6-1 now in the seventh. Best 34-14 on the road. They've also dominated within their division, 30-13 against the American League West. Angels' pen has been knocked around in this series. 2-1. Mike Scioscia's relievers, 6 innings of work in this series. They have given up 5 earned runs. And they have been used often. Fedorovich straight up, and there's 2 away.
Watch the Astros your way by downloading the AT&T Sportsnet app from iTunes or Google Play, or visit AT&TSportsnet.com to stream on your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available for those with AT&T Sportsnet in their TV subscription. Blackouts and territorial restrictions do apply.
Astro fan ready for this, get this offense jump started.
Yeah, Scioscia's bullpen is kind of in the middle of the pack as far as Major League Baseball rankings, with a 3.86 ERA, but you're right in the sense that he does go through a lot of relievers. It's a revolving door out there trying to keep healthy arms out there, and a lot of it's due to the fact that he's had so many injuries in that bullpen and a lot of injuries to the starting rotation. He's unable to find those guys that are able to go consistently deep into ball games like we've seen Heaney.
4 relievers in each of the first 2 games. Tyler Skaggs started on Friday. Looked like he was going to get off to a rocky start. He was still able to give Mike Scioscia 6 innings. Nick Tropiano coming off the disabled list yesterday. He was limited. That ball hammered to right. Cole Calhoun looking up off the wall, and he's going to hold Tony Kemp to a long single.
Which is pretty impressive because Tony Kemp can run.
Gives you an idea of the line drive that was as well.
That ball was hit hard. Tony Kemp doing a good job at turning on it. He's had a tendency to electrify us a couple of times. 96.5 miles an hour off the bat.
A 2-out single for George Springer as it comes up to the top of the order. 2-out single for Tony Kemp as George Springer steps in. George with back-to-back hits in his last 2 at-bats. Singled in the 3rd, doubled in the 5th.
So what makes Tony Kemp valuable too is getting on base and flipping the lineup to get to the guys in the top of the order for the Houston Astros.
Astros took a 1-0 lead in the 2nd inning. The Angels would score 2 in the bottom half of the 2nd, 2 more in the 3rd, a run in the 4th, and a run in the 6th. Lead at 6-1. Out hit the Astros 8-5. (3-0).
I'd like to say good eye by George, but I think he's a benefit of a little bit of a tight zone. Well, there you go. MD Anderson helping me out.
Ed Hickox is not like the top of the strike zone. I'm not talking about a little above it. And he calls that a strike. A little bit lower.
Really expanded the zone there, 3-0.
He said sarcastically.
Maybe.
Hitters count for George. 3-1. Ball 4.
Yeah, no chance. Well out of the zone.
The 2 on for Bregman with 2 outs.
Alex Bregman having an all-star season. You look at some of the comps, and Manny Machado's been in the news here recently. In their 24-year-old seasons, Manny Machado had his in 2016. Alex Bregman here in 2018. Some of the comparisons, Manny Machado can hit, and he can rack them up. 120 hits through 96 games. But that OPS for Alex Bregman, he's a doubles machine, turned into a home run machine throughout the month of June and then into the good part of July. I mean, how about the RBI production too? A little bit different lineups. A lot of guys on base for Alex Bregman, and he's definitely taken advantage of it. It's kind of fun to see these comparisons.
Well, Alex 0 for 10 in this series. And his streak of reaching base 24 consecutive games might be on the line right here. He's 0 for 3, ground out, fouled out to the catcher, and flied out to left field. Bats here with 2 outs and 2 on. Bregman with a .441 on base percentage during that 24-game streak of reaching base. In the dirt, 1-0.
Had a chance to see Alex on Friday. Asked him how the All-Star experience was, and obviously he said it was pretty incredible. I said, you know, what did you do when you're in the dugout with these guys? And he goes, I went around and asked everybody about their approach. Kind of gives you a good inclination that Alex Bregman wants more knowledge.
Ball hit the left. Upton going back. He won't get there. Kemp scores. Springer being waved. He'll score, and the Astros with a huge 2-out double, and Alex Bregman makes it a 6-3 game.
Told you he's a doubles machine. 32 now on the season for Alex Bregman and driving in 2 more runs. 66 RBIs on the season now for Alex Bregman. Man, oh man, that was a center cut fastball that he barreled up on a line. Nice compact swing, gets to contact, and that's what I love about Alex. He is so quick to contact and drives through the baseball. Justin Upton almost made a heck of a play.
That far away. Alex Bregman with the 2-run double.
You hear that?
Yeah, the MVP chance going up here.
Is that for Altuve or is that for the guy that just hit?
Take your pick.
You could this year.
Changes the complexion of this game in a hurry. 2 outs, nobody on. Tony Kemp with a single, a walk to Springer, and then Alex Bregman with a 2-run double. And here comes Mike Scioscia. Also extends the streak for Alex now to 25 consecutive games in which he has reached base. Pitching change in Anaheim.
Poll. Thanks for voting, as always, at ATT Sportsnet SW. Which Astros slugger will be this year's team home run champ? Look at you guys voting for Alex Bregman. 56% of the vote. Springer coming in second. Once again, thanks for voting. Okay.
Back to the bullpen again. Bedrosian leaves, and the Houstonian Justin Anderson comes in for the Angels. St. Pius High School, University of Texas, San Antonio.
Seen some good things from Justin Anderson, now making his 35th appearance. He has 12 holds on the season, 45 strikeouts and 34 2/3. That number you might be a little concerned about is the walk number at 22. But he does throw pretty hard, averaging 97.7 miles an hour on his fastball. He's got a changeup, and I'm not sure if it's much of a changeup, at 94 miles an hour, and a slider around 86.
4th appearance of the season against the Astros. Astros with 2 runs in, and here's Altuve, first pitch swinging, pops it on the right side. And Calhoun makes the catch. That'll retire the side, but the Astros put a 2 spot on the board in the 7th, closed the gap to a 3-run difference. And on this Sunday in Southern California, we keep it right here for this rendition of God Bless America.
Prior to singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, please join Aaron Aguayo in singing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Astros lead it. Astros trailing 6-3. Now let's send it to Brett Dolan and Mike Stan in our Rooms to Go lounge.
The best day for Lance McCullers Jr. working at 4 1/3. 5 walks going back to bite him. Kinsler driving in one of those for Otani with a double. Another walk to Trout. Bad location for the curveball led to a 2-run home run by Justin Upton. Despite running into a couple of double plays, the Angels took the lead in the second. Haven't relinquished it yet. Not much for the offense for the Astros until that last half inning. Alex Bregman coming through with a 2-out, 2-run double to get things going. We've seen this offense do big things late in games, hoping for more of the same today, Kevin.
Will Harris becomes the 4th pitcher of the day for A.J. Hinch's club.
Cutter and a curveball. First half saw Will Harris get into 41 games, 43 strikeouts in those appearances.
Faces Justin Upton to lead off the 7th. Upton hit a bomb, his 20th home run of the season in the 3rd inning, a 2-run shot. He was 1 for 2, also reached on a walk. His 42nd appearance leads the Astros in that category for Will Harris. Last pitched on Sunday against Detroit through a perfect 7th inning. Lance McCullers got the start for the Astros. CNL Perez came in through an inning and a 3rd. Brad Peacock able to finish off that last inning. Now Will Harris in to pitch here in the bottom of the 7th. He gets a strikeout from Justin Upton. Shohei Ohtani, 0 for 2, walked and scored in the second inning. We talked about it on Friday, but Ohtani has been medically cleared to begin a throwing program. What that sounds like and what that exactly means is kind of up in the air and kind of gray. Mike Scioscia talked with the media, said he expects to see him pitch again here in 2018.
How about that?
How about that?
Jam sandwich.
Throw pulls him off. It's going to be ruled a base hit. A ball that went about 80 feet.
Not entirely sure how that's a base hit, because if the first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, stays on the bag, it's an out. Throw took Yuli off the bag, and that's what led to Ohtani making it. He did hustle. Tell you what, I might have had a couple more hits if I played for the Angels.
A couple fewer errors if you were playing third base as well.
I had a gold glove or not.
Kinsler fouls that one back.
At least in my mind.
I'm with you. Big couple of runs for the Astros in that seventh inning. Closed the gap late to 6-3. Kinsler kind of got the offense going in that second inning for the Angels. Had a double. He'd scored their second run of the game. This one shot to right field. It's a fair ball. Ohtani will be held at third. And the second double of the day for Ian Kinsler, his 17th of the season, and it's second and third with one out in the seventh.
Cut fastball is pretty effective on left-handed hitters. You saw it against Ohtani where he got blown up with Will Harris getting in on the hands. But that cut fastball to right-handed hitters up out over the plate allows Kinsler to go with it and drive that ball down the right field line.
Infield comes in with Luis Valbuena at the plate. Strike one. Astros fighting to get back to within 3 runs. Last thing they want to do is give another one back here.
StatCast sacrifice fly line. It's a little bit more shallow for Tony Kemp. Maybe judge the speed of Shohei Ohtani and the arm of Tony Kemp. So he's got to come in pretty far to be able to throw that runner out. A little bit deeper on the corners for Marwin and Springer.
Think there'll ever come a day the third base coach will wear those virtual reality glasses, so he'll
Why
be able
not?
to see exactly where the catch is made, whether or not he should have the send.
And if he
I don't either.
makes the wrong call, the manager can zap him.
Astros on top 6-3, but in a jam here. Runners at second and third with one out. Upstairs it's 3-1. Ohtani at third, Kinsler at second. A 3-1 pitch to Luis Valbuena. Ball 4. Loads him up for the catcher, Jose Briseño. Will Harris looking for a ground ball here. Gets ahead in the count. Vicino 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. And that sacrifice bunt back in the second inning. Day off tomorrow. The Astros will open a 2-game series here on AT&T Sportsnet. It's the Colorado Rockies on Tuesday night. It's 1-1. Two balls and one strike. Led 31 games over 500. This is the second best record after 101 games in Astros history. Last year, the Astros were a game better at this point of the season. They're 67 and 34. 66 and 35 right now. That one popped up. Bregman out, Marwin in, and Marwin makes the catch. Just what the doctor ordered for Will Harris.
Definitely get a shallow fly ball, get the out, keep the runners right where they're at. We've seen David Fletcher, the 9-hole hitter for the Los Angeles Angels, have some pretty good ABs. Not out of the woods yet.
Fletcher 2 singles and 2 runs scored. He singled and scored in the 4th, singled and scored in the 6th. The one in the 6th is the one that really got the feeling that that one really hurt, because that was after Perez had struck out the first 2 hitters, so nobody on and 2 outs. And then Fletcher singled, walked to Calhoun, and Andrelton Simmons with an RBI single plated that 6th run of the day for the Angels.
Pretty good first pitch,
I would say. It's in the strike zone.
Well, sometimes, I mean, you've got to have some pretty good poise as a pitcher and pretty good stuff to be able to not let that phase you and come back with a better pitch. But if you're in a situation where the bases are loaded, 2 outs, and you throw a good breaking ball to get ahead, you need that call.
The thing about that, on the line is borderline. That ball touching the line, but the first pitch it wasn't even on the line. It was completely in the box.
Several
in the box.
The entire baseball inside the box.
Two and one, hit down the line and foul. Two-two pitch with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And a solid single up the middle. A 2-run single, and the Angels lead it 8-3.
Fletcher putting together some pretty good ABs. It's a breaking ball in a great location. You can't really fault Will Harris for that one. Just down and away. Fletcher did a better job of going down and getting it and punching it right back up the middle.
pitching change. Angels get those 2 runs back. They lead it 8-3.
$2.99. You can watch out-of-market games live or on demand. The subscription includes At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch on your favorite supported devices. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer. New pitcher in for the Houston Astros is going to be right-hander Chris Davinsky.
Working for the first time in 7-8 days. Last pitch on the 14th against Detroit. 2 innings in that game. Appearing for the 41st time this season.
Another Astros pitcher out of that bullpen with a great strikeout to walk ratio. 44 strikeouts to 9 walks. He is highly effective against left-handed hitters because of that fastball changeup mix.
This is Cole Calhoun, first batter he faces here in the 7th. Now, the Astros had put together that 2-run inning in the 7th, but Angels answer right back here in the bottom of the 7th. Get late in the game, you get it down to a 3-run difference. Feel like you got a chance. Now right back out to 5. Calhoun hits that one foul. Colors started. Perez, Peacock, Harris, and now Devo out of the bullpen. Tough day for Lance McCullers. Gave up 5 earned runs and 4 1/3. It's 1-2. But David Fletcher has been a pain for Astro pitching today. Look at that 9-hole. 3 straight hits and the 2-run single here in the 7th. Calhoun has drawn a couple of walks. He's reached 3 times. Also has a single in the 4th inning.
See if that fastball up and in at 95 sets up the COD from Chris Davinsky, trying to get out of this inning.
Now Devo has held left-handers to a 177 average. Deep to right. That's gone. Three-run home run, Cole Calhoun, and the Angels lead it 11-3.
First start to the season for Cole Calhoun. On a little bit of a DL stint, trying to get things right, but he's been slugging the baseball pretty good here the last couple of weeks. Got himself a hanging changeup and blasted it.
Tenth home run of the season for Calhoun, brings up Andrelton Simmons. A 5-run seventh for the Angels. No balls and 2 strikes. Hit on a line to left, base hit.
We're seeing some bad location with some of these pitches and 2-strike counts. It's a pretty good pitch to hit, the 2-strike count. Fastball.
All started with David Fletcher, that 2-out, 2-run single here in this 7th inning. 3-run blast for Cole Calhoun, all of a sudden blows up into a 5-run inning. Now you got to face Mike Trout. Trout 1 for 3, walked and scored in the 3rd. The Angel fans answering back a little bit. Astro fans were chanting MVP when Bregman had his double in the top of the inning. Two balls and a strike. Whether it's how you pitch him or just the timing in which you see him, Astros have had a lot of success. Astro pitchers have had a great deal of success against Trout this season, but that ball hit deep to left. Well, you can forget about that one. 2-run home run. It's 13-3.
That ball down and in. We talked about it a lot in all the appearances that we've seen Astros pitchers against him. I think he got this one right where he wanted it. Down out over the plate. He goes down at a pretty steep angle and still creates an excellent launch angle once he gets to contact.
Seven-run 7th inning, and it's 12. Make it 13-3. Scoreboard just updated. Looking at the wrong one. Looking at the scoreboard in the stadium rather than one on the screen. 13-3. 13 runs on 14 hits. Upton bats for the 2nd time in the 7th. Angels have scored 7 runs with 2 outs in the inning. 3 balls and a strike.
Good job. You held your ground.
I didn't flinch at all.
Define
I was
flinch.
I was hoping that I didn't flinch. And I was hoping that you would notice. I'm glad you did. Deep to left, and it's foul. Not by much. Upton made a bid for his second home run of the game. Third of the inning for the Angels.
Yeah, we don't need to keep this going. We need to get these guys out. It's getaway day.
It's all come with 2 outs.
For everything they didn't do in the first 2 games, they are unloading here in the 3rd game of this series.
And A.J. Hint's going to come get Diva. A pitching change in a big 7th inning for the Angels. It's 13-3.
Fargo. Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon, 2 offensive stars for that Colorado Rockies team. Arenado is a very good defensive third baseman also, but puts up MVP type numbers. And we will see the Rockies on Tuesday and Wednesday after a day off on Monday. 25 home runs for Arenado, 72 RBIs. Charlie Blackmon at the top part of that order with 19 home runs himself and only 46 RBIs. But Arenado, a unique talent with a strong glove and arm at third base, but also has the power to back it up on the offensive side. Should be an interesting series, a brief 2-game series up there in Denver.
Visitors score a lot of runs at Coors Field. The Astros score a lot of runs on the road. This guy plays out as Joe Smith comes into work. Face Shohei Ohtani. All of this damage coming in this 7th inning with 2 outs. Joe Smith making his 31st appearance of the season. 4.10 ERA, sub-1 whip. Ohtani to right, got under that one. Ball's up there a long time. Springer coming over and makes the play, and that will retire the side. A 7-run 7th. Angels in control.
It is presented to you by TXU Energy. George Springer this series coming alive after that great all-star appearance. 4 for his last 10 with a home run, 5 RBIs in this series. 4 of them coming on one big swing of the bat on Saturday. He has also scored 3 runs. It's good to see George turning things around, getting back into the swing of things, but today not the Astros' day, trailing 13-3 after that 7-run 7th, and a new pitcher on for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
That would be Jim Johnson, who was reinstated from the disabled list earlier today. Missed 32 games with a lumbar strain. Rehab assignment at Salt Lake, but this is a guy 34 years old, a veteran. Been around, but he has been out since early June. Glad to have him back on the mend in the bullpen. This is Yuli Gurriel, first pitch swinging, ground ball on the left side, and there's one away. Our league leaders are presented by Houston Methodist. Those numbers, well, those numbers bring on a lot of success. Translates into the record. Starting ERA is the best. The bullpen ERA, although taking a hit today, still the best. Every aspect of the game the Astros have been so very good at, offensively as well as defensively with the fielding percentage.
Yeah, they do a lot of things incredibly well.
Evan Gattis 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. It was a tough bottom of the 7th inning for both Chris Davinsky and Will Harris. Harris, soft liner that gets in. Tani's little humpback to the third baseman, J.D. Davis. I think that's a play that you expect to be made. Broke the bat on that. But those two charged with all 7 runs in that 7th inning. Ground ball right back up the middle. Hey, welcome back from the disabled list. There's 2 outs.
Since 1940, teams with top 3 major league ranks in 5 categories: runs, batting average, starter ERA, reliever ERA, fielding percentage. Can ignore the anomaly on the left-hand side. The Seattle Mariners in 2001, they won 116 games but lost in the ALCS. But the other teams, the Indians, Yankees, and both Cardinals teams winning World Series championships or getting to the World Series.
One that out of that list, other than the Mariners, that didn't win the World Series, won the National League pennant. Marwin 1 for 3. He had a double. Garrett Cole gets the start on Tuesday. Goes against Tyler Anderson. It'll be Charlie Morton. The Astros will send a 10-game winner and an 11-game winner to the mound in those 2 games against the Colorado Rockies. Rockies will come to Minute Maid Park in August. Justin Verlander finally got into that double-digit win club.
You can kind of read the relief in some of his comments after the game, too. Just happy to get the W, got to earn the W, got to grind and get the W, because he knows that his ERA is not indicative of that win-loss record.
I loved his post-game comments from that standpoint, though, when he said, we play this game to win. He goes, you can say all you want about keeping your team in the game and giving your team a chance to win. He goes, but hey, we're here to win, and that's what I want to do. So that's important to me to get that 10th win.
The way things were going, if he had any kind of run support like he saw yesterday, he might have been at that 10th win and through 10 starts.
Yeah, exactly. 23 consecutive scoreless innings in this ballpark for Justin Verlander. Dallas Keuchel, remember, he started this thing off on Friday. 7 2/3, gave up the 1 earned run. He is on as good a roll as anybody right now. Marwin to left center field. That'll get down and in the gap. Goes all the way to the wall, and Marwin will cruise into second base with his 2nd double of the day and 15th of the season.
Fastball late in the count that Marwin got to.
A 2-out double for Marwin. That'll bring up J.D. Davis. Got the Astros on the board with an RBI single in the second. No balls and 1 strike. J.D. Davis, to his credit, when he got sent down, remember he was on the opening day roster. Yuli Gurriel starting the season with the suspended couple of games, and of course on the disabled list when he had the hand surgery. But to his credit, he's got sit down a couple of times. He just kept on hitting at AAA Fresno. Johnson quickly ahead 0-2. On the right side, Kinsler can't make the play. Marwin will turn third, and he'll come in to score. Makes it a 13-4 game. That is an E4. The Astros get an unearned run there. But for the time being.
Kinsler had a range pretty far to his left, but I'm sure that's a hop and a play that he feels he should have made. But a quick trigger by the official score to give him the error. I wasn't too sure.
Quick trigger by me to call it an unearned run, too. We'll see. Fedorovich 0 for 3. Struck out twice and popped up to the catcher. It was a 6th error of the season committed. That's a foul ball by Ian Kinsler. And a tough season for him as well. A lot of these Angels, tough season at the plate. Angels made 3 errors in yesterday's game. Buena made a couple. Simmons with a rare error yesterday as well.
Tim Fedorovich is doing a little bit of a do-over on this AB. He just went to the on-deck circle, loaded up, practice swing, let's go.
You love that.
Oh, yeah. Days like this, nothing better than doing that.
Be ready to hit. These folks down there on the first base side working on their tans, get a little bit more sunscreen.
Might be melting into their seats.
Warm day here, just like it is back home. Not, well, shouldn't say just like it is back home because it's a lot hotter back home. But
yeah, there's a Rangers team playing a home game right now that might argue that. There it is.
Back. I moved. That was.
You moved. You ran into a brick wall.
I ran into you. I don't know about a brick wall, but
Gooby got a hand on it.
I know it. I was impressed. Watch. Where is it?
Just to the left. Gooby reaching up there trying to make a play.
You got it.
Paper knocked it down. That's awesome.
Nice. Well done. Victor Rojas, Mark Gubel's in the booth just to our left. Foul back again. Seems like a 40 pitch at bat.
At least.
Angels on top 13-4, a 7-run 7th inning. They have scored in all but 2 innings tonight. That one shot right into center field. The Astros with runners at first and second.
FedEx with the delivery to center. Fighting through that AB. I know we can sit up here and make all the fun we want as Mike Scioscia comes out of the dugout for another pitching change. But when you're in that batter's box, you are fighting for every AB. Good job by Fedorovich to get that knock.
Pitching change. Four lead. The Astros now face Deck McGuire. A 6.46 ERA. It has been a struggle, albeit a small sample size for him in those 10 games.
Yeah, it's a perfect pocket right here for Deck McGuire to come in. 13-3, relax. He's got a tough AB against Tony Kemp with a couple of base runners on. Can get to 95 with the fastball, has a changeup, curveball, and a slider. That's why he's made 3 starts, having those 4 pitches.
Fedorovich with that RBI single, so turns that into an earned run. Now here's Tony Kemp. Take strike 1. Kemp singled and scored in the 7th inning. That's when you felt like the Astros had a chance. They got it to a 6-3 ball game at that point with that 2-run 7th inning. 2-out double for Alex Bregman. Things since then have fallen apart. 7-run 7th for the Angels. Runs on 8 hits for the Astros. They've left 6. 13 runs on 14 hits. 7 men left for the Angels. Swing and a miss. Deck McGuire started in that final game against the Dodgers before the All-Star break. Those 3 starts, that's where he's done most of his work, at least as of late. 7.71 ERA. Tony Kemp fouls that one back. Kemp bats with 2 outs, 2 on, a run in the 8th inning. Angels on top 13-4. Ball 4. Bases are loaded for George Springer.
Can he do it again?
Grand slam yesterday, the 5th of his career. Bats with the bases loaded in the 8th inning today.
Oh, this could work out to be a pretty good move for Soch.
How's that? I know you weren't a fan of the pitching change late.
That's a good thing we don't leave our microphones open in between innings.
It is a good thing. Better thing for you.
Yeah, but yesterday was a good day for George. Good AB, too. Really having to be patient. Sit back on that slider.
I think viewers would be thoroughly entertained
Yeah,
between innings.
that may not be appropriate for the channel we're on.
It misses, it's 1-1. Yeah, Noe Ramirez just couldn't find the plate yesterday, and when he did, Springer made him pay. Fell behind 3-0, and Springer fouled off a couple of pitches. Now facing Deck McGuire, 29-year-old. Two and one.
Good discipline by Tony Kemp. Good discipline right now by George. We're going to hang around and take some pitches. You get one in the zone. Why not do some damage?
Davis at third. Fedorovich is at second. Tony Kemp at first after a walk. Three balls and 1 strike.
Here we go.
The 3-1. Three balls and 2 strikes. You're going to swing 3-1. That's how you swing.
Yeah, George is going to let it eat.
Ball 4. It's 13-5. Second walk issued. And now here comes Charles Nagy.
And that pitch grabs part of that zone on the bottom, but we know that Ed Hickox in this ball game has not been aggressive at calling some pitches that should have been strikes. But it keeps the train moving for the Houston Astros.
And it brings up Alex Bregman, who extended his on-base reaching streak to 25 consecutive games. A 2-run double in the 7th inning. Astros with 2 runs in. This all coming after a 7-run 7th for the Angels. Strike 1. The magic number for the Astros has been 4. When scoring 4 runs or more, they are ridiculous 55 and 10. Today, much more the exception than the rule as they trail 13-5. But a consistent but tight zone. That ball looked like it caught a part of the strike zone. Yeah. It's 1-2. One-two pitch. Just got a piece. Mike Scioscia has used 5 pitchers in each of these 3 games.
Model of consistency.
2 balls and 2 strikes. A double for Bregman in the 7th that plated 2 runs. That was his first hit of the series. The 2-2. All-Star Game MVP. Outstanding showing in the home run derby. Bats here with the bases loaded. In the 8th inning, his team down 13-5.
And for those counting, 43 pitches thrown in this inning so far by Angels pitchers.
Are you? You were counting.
Yep. I've actually got some friends that I know that do a better job at counting than I do. Gave me that number.
And the count continues. So what are you up to? 43 pitches in the inning.
44.
44 pitches in the inning. This inning started with the Angels with a 10-run lead.
Yep. Senio's going to wear it.
Piece of him.
Alex Bregman fighting. Ooh.
Make you feel even better about those 45 pitches. He had 1 out on the first pitch. Yuli Gurriel, first pitch swinging to start this inning.
Good point. You really know how to cheer me up.
I do my best. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs and the base is loaded. 2 runs in. High in the air to left field. Up and over. Makes the catch. The Astros leave the bases loaded. Get a couple of runs. They trail 13-5. 15-5 games. A.J. Hinch not wanting to get any deeper into that bullpen. JD, a couple of games last year in 2017 that he worked on the mound, went an inning and 2/3. Versatility.
No, he's got a good arm. He played and pitched at Cal State Fullerton just down the road, closed out some games for the Titans when he was in college, and we saw him last year in multiple appearances come out with a fastball in the low 90s, and he also snapped up a couple of good sliders. But he's the last position player to make multiple appearances in a season as a pitcher since 2000 when Tim Bogart did it.
The Astros got a couple of unearned runs in that 8th inning, and now J.D. Davis comes in here to pitch in the bottom of the 8th. He will face Ian Kinsler to lead it off. So Marwin is in at third. Trying to catch all the changes here. And Tucker comes in. Kyle Tucker will come in and play left field. J.D. Davis gets ahead in the count, 0-1. High in the air to the left. Tucker looking up, going back, and it's gone. Fourth home run of the day for the Angels. Kinsler 16, make it his 12th of the season.
It's the first home run that J.D. Davis has given up in his pitching career.
Buena on the ground. Marwin, who's in at third, fields the ball at short, throws over to Yuli Gurriel. There's one out. Some eyes raised. Rob Manfred, Commissioner of Baseball, with this quote on Mike Trout: if he wants to engage, be more active in marketing himself, I think we could help him make his brand really, really big. But he has to make a decision. It takes time and effort. Mike Trout handled that well, taking that quote from the commissioner.
He handled it extremely well. It's interesting that he, Artie Moreno changed the name of his team to put the Angels in a major market, and he has arguably the best player in baseball who's going out there and been in the top 5 of MVP voting for the last 6 years, and asking him to engage more. I just think it's interesting. Baseball is not like basketball or football where you can put it on one guy. In the NBA, it's LeBron. And some of these guys, I feel that baseball is so regional. It's a popular sport, but it's also regional. You can't expect a guy like Mike Trout to go out there and be the face of baseball, even though he could if he really wanted to. But you also can't change the human. Mike Trout doesn't impress me as a human that's going to go out there and go, I want attention, I need to promote the game, I need to do this. He's going to do everything he can because he has angels written across the front of his chest.
And Julia, we had a long discussion with A.J. Hinch, and I thought it was really interesting what he had to say yesterday.
Well, he started by telling us what his message is when he talks to his team every year, and it's be yourself. We are going to support you, whoever you are. It's been a clubhouse for the Astros full of different personalities who have different styles, and so he's preached that since the day he got this job. He also said today, with all that talk about Josh Reddick and the good he's done, that they bring smiles on and off the field. It's all you can ask for them. These are really great guys, especially on this Astros team, but we've seen Mike Trout do a nice job of that as well.
It's 14-5 as we go to the 9th. you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Arctic, overbuilt, not overpriced. And by McDonald's, I'm loving it. Well, not much to love today for Astro fans as they trail at 14-5 as they go to the top of the 9th inning for HOU Altuve. This is Deck McGuire here in the 9th. Altuve, a rare road offer.
We didn't really have a chance to talk about that Mike Trout stuff too much. We kind of hinted at it a couple times, and I think it's interesting, you know, that Mike Trout could go out there and promote himself and obviously do more. But each media market's different, but also you fall into the issue of being on the left coast or on the west coast. 70% of America is not watching his baseball game, so even if he goes out there and says, hey, come watch me play or stay up and watch a game, everybody's going to sleep and taking a nap.
Altuve with a single into left. But and Julia talked about that, but AJ pointed that out. He said, I had a message on basically day one when it came to that is be yourself. We'll support you however you want to be. Some guys are active on social media, some guys
he
not
is active
as much.
too. That's the thing. On Instagram, he's always out there putting out stories and things like that.
Do you see what I'm saying though when baseball is not as conducive to marketing an individual because of the game itself, and it is the game what it is. You know, a guy may bat, you know, once every 3 innings. He may bat once every 40 minutes. Whereas in the NBA or the NFL, talking about a quarterback that's going to be touching the ball on every offensive possession, or in the NBA, a guy that's going to have the ball every time they have it on their end of the court.
It's been impressive to watch some of these guys be so active on social media or try to push maybe it's their brand or their foundations. That's really hard to do for anyone who even has an account, especially with no days off for these guys. And when they do have days off, they usually already have obligations or they would just like to see their families. But, you know, it comes down to everyone has their own style. And so many of these athletes are doing so many great things. They just maybe aren't in front of the cameras doing it. So that was AJ's point again today when we were talking about Josh Reddick and all that he gave back to the field that we discussed and showed. You know, if there hadn't have been a camera there, he's still doing good for people, and there's still being good people on and off the field in this sport.
It goes back to the point, Julie hits into the double play, goes back to the point of being a bit of a region. You know, teams have more of a regional appeal and a local appeal, and it never ceases to amaze me that when you have the grind and the schedule that these players have, how many times they are in the community doing things on a very precious day off.
But still, I mean, in promoting the game, he is promoting the game by playing the way he does and putting up MVP type numbers. And you know who just got voted one of the more favorite teams in all of sports is the Houston Astros over that All-Star break. And I think a major reason why Trout goes overlooked is because they don't get to the postseason. They don't play a lot of nationally televised games. They played one yesterday because of the team they're playing against. You get to the postseason and you start putting up monster numbers like that, you'll watch the endorsements roll in. You'll watch the notoriety climb.
Well, we saw it with the Astros after the World
That's
Series.
the example I think that is great to see because, you know, Middle America is watching some of the Astros games, but they play a lot of games on the West Coast. Sometimes you're not going to catch them until they get to the East Coast and beat up on the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees in the playoffs. But you get to the playoffs and you do damage, your product is going to be pretty well promoted.
Kyle Tucker with his first at-bat today. Came in as a defensive replacement late.
But there's other guys out there. Nolan Arenado, phenomenal talent. What do you expect him to go out there and do? He puts up MVP-type numbers. Paul Goldschmidt, another guy on the West Coast. So it's a little bit of an issue playing on this side of the country.
I'll make the seats. And I think that can stand also. I mean, remember how just having to go back. I mean, Carlos Beltran, who was a phenomenal player, a phenomenal talent for the Kansas City Royals, but no one really got a chance didn't really see him play on a national scope. Yeah, it's just depending on where you play, it can make a big difference. Tucker on the ground, Simmons, and that's the ball game. Angels with a 7-run 7th inning, and they win this one today over the Astros, going away 14-5. We'll come back and wrap things up in just a moment.